everybody, welcome to this next episode of Petunia and Uniqua Talks. So today we're going to be talking to Geraldine and then once again, but this time we're just going to talk about, random stuff. Today's just going to be like a really lenient day. It's not going to be, on strictly no topic as of yet. But we will, talk about, random stuff with Geraldine and Pinky. Because Uniqua's not going to be here today, but I do have Sabiha from Sabiha's Adventures. See, look at her nice hair. Say hi, Sabiha. Hello. She'll be sitting with us today. And, her hair, she has dreadlocks in her hair. She cut them short. She actually has a short style. So, that's just her. And, today's going to be a really good day. We're just going to talk about Geraldine's family. Because, we got to talk about, Steve, Shonda, and them first. And then we're going to talk about her step-family. How, somebody in her family got married to this other family. And that's how she became, members of their family. And, we're going to hear from her and see what she likes better. Okay? So let's go over to Geraldine. Hey y'all, don't forget to watch Sabiha's Adventures. The new episode will be coming soon. I know it's been taking a long time, but we'll get to see it. Alright? Bye-bye. We are now over here with Geraldine and Pinky. Hi, guys. Hi. Hello. So, guys, we're going to talk about something pretty, generic today. You want to talk about your family, Geraldine, even though we know them as Steve and Shonda. I want to know if you can talk about them for a little bit with us. My pleasure. So, my family does consist of a lot of people. There's Jamal, Julian, Selena, Leon, Gerald, myself, Shonda, Steve, and Corey. It's all of us, as one large family. I love my family to death because I was born into them, and I just love them. They're my seed. They're like my fellow siblings. I really love them so much. But the thing that is my main gripe about my family is that there's constant, arguments. There's constant arguing, constant fighting for no reason. My older brothers, Julian and Jamal, go against each other like crazy. I don't even know what's wrong with them. They keep going at it, and they keep, being involved in dissension and other stuff. It's not pleasing to me, and I don't like it. I hate dissension. And, it's what causes, the sisters, because, my sisters, Leon and Selena, go at it too for some reason. They jealous of each other for no reason. And then, my mom always fights with, Selena for no reason. It's a lot of dissension. There's a lot of, fights and stuff going on in my family. It's a lot of bitterness and it's a lot of anger. And, it just really grinds my gears whenever I, think about stuff like that. And whenever I, encounter stuff like that. Because, I just sit in the house and just be on my own, and then I still, tend to fall into those types of encounters with these people. My first argument I never got into was 4 years ago with Julian. Julian was starting with people for no reason. He was upset at something, but I didn't even know what was he upset at. He just started with everybody in the family, and I'm you can't be bringing that type of energy inside of the house, because that's going to cause a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness, and a lot of, hurts and pains and stuff. But that's just how my family is, but I always will love my family. That's why all of my brothers and sisters, were kicked out of Wee Chapel, because, they can't be bringing all that types of arguments and stuff. They did ever since they were kids. They've been fighting. They've been, bitter. They've been, disrespectful and deceitful. And, I can't be dealing with that. That stuff is so disrespectful to me. Like, I can't. I just can't. I'm just hoping there's something new to do. Hope there's something new. Like my family, my family just needs deliverance. That's all. Like I am so sick and tired of falling into these family shenanigans, and I'm just tired of all the arguments and all the bitterness and stuff. I'm sick of it. I just pray that my family seeks God like I did before. I understand you. Maybe, Geraldine, you could be that light in your family. Have you ever received that revelation before? I have, but I don't really know if it's true or not. Like, how would I really know if it's true or not? Like, you know, because that's probably how your life is, because you know God for yourself, and you know that the Lord can use you to basically save your family. The Lord can save your family by the words that you speak and by the anointing that's on your life through Christ. You know what I mean? But all you gotta do is just continue to pray and seek God about this stuff. I will. Okay. So guys, I just had to move it just a little bit closer until you can see everybody. Okay, let's continue on. But yeah, I'm just hoping there's a revolution in my family. Like, my family gets to, get involved in all this carnal behavior, and I'm just sitting there just being myself, just doing my own little thing. And all of a sudden, they just want to start nonsense. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I hate it so much. Don't worry about it. I promise you'll be fine. Just continue to pray and seek God. Because, God might use you. God will use you to, lead your family to Christ. Like, God wants to call people back into himself. Like, he'll use you to bring your brothers and sisters to Christ. You have to lead them to Christ and have them know him in a better way and in the best way possible. Like that anointing on your life, Geraldine, I've watched you grow ever since We Chapel. And mind you, I left church. I went back to We Chapel. Because, I wanted to sing back on, I had to sing back on the choir, and I just missed everybody. I just had to come back. And now I feel all alone. Where you got me? Oh, Pinky, I always loved you. Okay. Yeah, you got Pinky, so don't worry about it. But I'll be continuing to visit, continue to say hi to everybody, but that church wasn't really meant for me. I went back to We Chapel because We Chapel has everything for me. My husband Snoopy's back at the church on the choir, and I'm back on the choir. I'm back to singing alto. Remember, I used to sing soprano, but it got too tiring for my voice. Tried to sing soprano here at this church for the memorial concert for Woody, but it didn't work out. Like, my throat was hurting the whole time. I could not lead one of my songs that I had to lead. I was singing How Great Our Joy. I couldn't lead it because it hurt so bad. I really didn't sing like how I wanted to. Okay. And you were called back for the reunion choir for the memorial concert for Woody. Why didn't you come back? I don't know. I didn't really want to come back because, remember, that church caused so much hurt and harm to me. It's like, doesn't make any sense. Like, the church caused so much dissension, so much hurt, and so much pain, and I had to, stray away from that church for a while. Okay. Yeah, don't let those people hurt you, because they see the light in you, but they just probably jealous. They want to dim it. They try to stop you from functioning in your anointing and how you function in the Lord. You just got to continue to stay strong and be you at all times. I know, I always struggle to be myself at that church. Like, I loved singing ever since I came to We Chapel. We Chapel was like the first church I ever sang at. I didn't sing at my old church, the Methodist church. I never sang there because, like, my mom, she sang on the choir and the praise team, as well as my dad, but I never sang on the team. It was the people who sang on the choir in my family was Leon and Selena and Gerald, and that's it. Julian and Jamal. Yeah, Julian and Jamal, they did their own little thing. They did like, raps and poetry. And Jamal and Julian can sing, but they didn't really want to sing on the choir that much. But Julian was on the choir once, but he was only there for like four times, and that's it. Then he stopped. Okay. And then, my mom, she always been consistent with the choir, consistent, with everything. But something happened between the bishop and my mom was not really happy with what was going on, and she just decided to leave. She didn't really like how everything was going. She thought everybody was being disrespectful, and she didn't think everybody was disrespectful. She thought, like, people were taking advantage of the fact that she is like a really nice woman, and she did not really appreciate how, the people on the youth choir was treating her. Because, Gerald, Leon, and Selena were on the youth choir, and my mom taught the youth choir, but she did not really like how all those kids, all of their friends were taking advantage of her, and she didn't even like how Selena and Leon and Gerald were taking advantage of her. Taking advantage of your own mother, I found that kind of disrespectful, but ever since then, she never went back. She took all the kids and left. And then came to Wee Chapel, and then this is like the first time I sang, because I did not sing with the youth choir here. I didn't even know Wee Chapel had a youth choir back then. We had a youth choir back then. I was on it, and because I came to this church back in like 2008, 2009. Then ever since then, I've been singing with I sang with the youth choir. It was me, Snoopy, Millennia, Cameron, and because Cameron's really young too. Sabiha was already on the mass choir, but she sang on the praise team. That's how I met Sabiha, because I met Sabiha singing on the praise team and the youth choir. Sabiha actually taught the youth choir once. It was her and Daniel, because Daniel was really young. This is before Smeagol moved into the city, moved into the town, and he just loved singing. Daniel loved the youth choir, because that's where all of them started. Even Miss Mabel. You remember Miss Mabel, Geraldine? The blue dolphin lady? The evil blue dolphin lady? I do remember her. She wasn't really that mean. She was like really strict. That's all. She was just strict. But she taught the mass choir along with Jonah. Oh yeah, Jonah is still in charge of the youth choir and is also in charge of the mass choir as well. Like all the choirs at our church have a whole bunch of leaders. It was Sabiha who directed the youth choir, even though she was the same age as me. Well, I know, but I still got a chance to, teach everybody, because, I just love y'all. I love my generation. I just wanted to teach my generation a couple things. But yeah. And then, we had some of the other guys. We had Uniqua was on the youth choir as well, but she did the mass choir more than the youth choir though. Because, Jonah liked her being on the mass choir because, on the youth choir, Uniqua used to be an alto. I was an alto, and Sabiha sung alto. But I always been a soprano one. Yeah, she's a soprano. But on the mass choir, she sung soprano, and Uniqua sung soprano on the mass choir as well. That's when everybody was there. And then one of my favorite songs singing at that church at Wee Chapel was Because He Lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. That was my favorite song ever on the youth choir and also the mass choir. It was like 5 times we sang on the youth choir. That's when I moved over to the mass choir. Because my husband Snoopy was already on the mass choir and the youth choir at the same time. Wait, how old were you going back then? I was like 20, 21. I was like 20, 21. It was like 2008. I was like 19 or 20. Because, I was just moving back from, Liberia when I went to school out there. Okay. But I've been enjoying myself ever since then. I just loved it. Like, there's a lot of history at Wee Chapel for me. And I joined the praise team, and Sabiha was a soprano on the praise team, but Sabiha was an alto on the youth choir. But luckily for me, I recently accepted a position to become our new choir director. I'm in charge of the celestial choir at Wee Chapel. That's like, we sing like hymnals and old gospel music. That's just me. Like, I just love singing and doing that type of stuff. Singing old music, because, that's what we sung growing up on youth choir. Like, I taught a song, we used to sing Total Praise on youth choir, as well as, it's another song. I forgot what it was, but you gotta watch this new episode of Sabiha's Adventures, because it's gonna be on there. But I'm glad that you knew what's right for you, though. I decided to not go back because, I didn't want to go back there no more. And I'm more comfortable at the church than I'm at now, Epiphany Church. Epiphany Fellowship Church. That's the church that I'm more comfortable at right now. So, okay. Just do what you gotta do. I know. But, yeah, that's pretty much it about the Wee Chapel thing. Yeah, but I left Wee Chapel because there was a lot of bitterness, a lot of dissension going towards me, because I was like one of the youngest people singing on the mass choir. Because, you remember me, Geraldine, when I first came to the mass choir. Actually, me and you came like the same time. Yeah, I remember you, because you were like real young. Your mom, I remember your mom, Malaya. What happened to your dad after that? Oh, he got sick. He didn't come to church like that. He needs to get back into church. But Steve's dad passed away, though. Remember? When Steve was born. Oh, I remember that. That was on the Woody Bus Show. But yeah, I missed him too. He was an okay dad. Remember, he gave us food every Friday, but that's not really how you define like the best dad ever, because the best dad ever can give you a good life. He can teach you how to live a good life. That's the best dad ever. The best dad can watch the kids grow up and do whatever, things that they need to get done. Like, the best dad ever is not going to just give you food, and they're not just going to give you money the whole time. That's what a childish sense of what the best dad ever could do. But that's not really how you define like the best dad ever. That's just a child way of defining what the best dad ever. But as you grow, you determine what was the best dad ever for your life. Like the things that your dad taught you. And the person who you are today because of your dad. And because of your mom, how they taught you as they grew older. I wish I would say the same for my family, but there's a lot of dissension, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of anger and stuff. Like, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what took the toll on these people. Like, it's so disappointing. I remember just saying a prayer. I was like, Lord, I really, really want to be in this family. I love the family, and I'm thankful for the family that you have given me. But Lord, I want to fellowship with another family. Like how they're so nice and they're so respectful and they're understanding and everything. And then this prayer I spoke, it was back in 2009. That prayer did not come into fruition until like 2012. Like 2011, 2012. Because My brother Julian, because he's the oldest. No, Jamal's the oldest. Ooh, my brother Jamal's the oldest, and he got married to this girl. Her name is Stephanie Dunson Clement. That's her name. She's like the youngest of this family. And that's her maiden name. Dunson Clement is her like maiden name. But she got married to my brother Jamal. Jamal, I would say he is like 25 right now because they got married back in 2012. That's when I was turning 12. And then that's when I met the girl. She's really nice. She's a little bit older than Jamal though, but love is love. But love got no limits. But anyway, he got married. She became Stephanie Alyssa Dunson Clement dash Washington, because Jamal's last name is Washington. Yep. Until I got to meet the girl. She was so nice. She was so respectful. I don't even know how. I'm surprised. I don't know how she puts up with him. Because, Jamal, he's full of a lot of crap. I love my brother, but he has some crap inside of him. I don't even know how he is, how she's still with him, because he's full of crap. Because he comes home angry, and it makes me mad. But anyway, I met her. And so, I got to meet her, and I was like, hey, where you from? And she said, we're all from Philadelphia. And she said, we're all. And I wondered, who's we're all? Actually, who's the we're all in this situation, sister? And then she said, I have a bunch of brothers and sisters. A lot of them are older than me. I'm like the youngest girl in my family. And I have so many older brothers and sisters. And I was like, oh, okay. Until one day, she invited my brother to a family reunion trip. I asked Jamal if I can go with him, and he said, yeah. I decided to go with him to the family reunion trip. And that's when I finally got to meet a lot of people in that family. I was with Stephanie and Jamal the whole time. And Stephanie introduced me to her sister, Barbara, her sister, Tahira, and her brother, Lance, and her brother, Brian, and her older sister, Sharon, and Tia, and the older brother, Michael, and more of the family. And then that's when I met more people in the family. When I met Lance, he had a lot of kids. He has a lot of kids. I meant to say has. I'm sorry. He has a lot of children. Brian has a lot of children. Tahira has some children. Barbara has some children. Sharon has some children. Michael has children. Everybody in that family, along Stephanie's bloodline, they all have a lot of children. And that's when I met Brian's kids. Now, mind you, Brian's kids are all really nice. I like them. I love Sharon's kids. I love Lance's kids. I love all their kids. Their kids are amazing. I felt like I was like the weirdo auntie, and I did not want to be called an auntie. She made a joke to me one time, and I was saying, I was going to be an auntie because, my brothers and sisters all have children. And I'm like, okay, I do not want to be no aunt because that's kind of stupid for me to be older and the same age as the children in some of that family because, some people in the family are the same age. Most of them are the same age as me. I'm like 19. And I didn't really like, being called an aunt because it was kind of stupid to me. So that's when let me think. So that's when I say, you know what, I'm going to be called a cousin because I don't want to be an auntie so early because that's kind of stupid to me. Mind you, I was only 12 years old and I thought it was really, really weird, if you know what I mean. Oh, I understand you because, I have a sister because, my middle name is Victoria. I have a sister named Victoria. She has two children because I became an aunt when I was like 10 years old. Mind you, my sister Victoria was 14 when she had children. And I'm like, okay, I'm being an aunt at like a really young age. That's a little cool, but it's also kind of weird if you know what if you know the drift that I'm coming off of. Yeah, it's pretty weird because, having because in the aunts and uncles part of the family, like that type of bloodline, it can be a plethora of like all these ages, but I don't want to be in the younger age rank, so I decided to call myself a cousin. Yeah, but I met everybody in the family. I met all of Tahira's kids, Barbara's kids. Stephanie does not have any children yet. She did not have any children yet at the time, but she has a boy and a girl. Their names are, name is Adius, and Adius is the boy, and Nandima is the girl. They're pretty, really, really pretty people. Pretty boy and girl, my wonderful nieces and nephews. That's the only time I'm going to claim that I'm an aunt. But on the other people in the family, I'm claiming myself as a cousin because I don't want to be like, no. I don't want to be called no aunt to the people who are the same age as me. That's pretty creepy. So I said, no, I'm a cousin. But like I said, I met everybody in the family. I met Brian. I met Sharon. Now, aren't they all like the same last names as Stephanie? Dunson Clement? Mostly the guys, but the women, they have different last names. But what I found so cool is that Sharon, even though her name is Sharon Dunson Clement, her name is Sharon Moon. Because, her husband, his last name is Moon. And then, her name became Sharon Moon. I know she had laid a big impact in some of these people's lives. Because, this is what I want to introduce. I want to introduce my other family. Because, I've been adopted into this other family, and I am humbled to introduce that these people are my other family. So, for the names in the family, in the family, you have Barbara Thomas, you have, Tahira Whiten, and you have Brian Dunson Clement, and you have Lance Dunson Clement, and then you have Sharon Moon, and you have Sharon Moon, you have Marciel Dunson Clement, you have Michael Dunson Clement, and you have Tia Spratter, or I think it's Bratter. Yeah, you have Tia Bratter, and then you have Maurice Bratter, you have Leroy Bratter, and you have let me think, you have Harold Bratter. And the other oldest is it's another girl, but I don't want to get into her story. Her name is Takia Bratter. Okay, so why did these people's names break off into Bratter and you broke off from Dunson Clement? They have a different father, I believe. I don't really know from sure back then, but now they have I think it was a different dad. I think it was like a different father, but the same mother though. Cause the mother, I think she's like 54, 53 years old. No, I think the mother thinks she's like 60. She's like somewhere in like late 50s, early 60s. Because, she had a lot of children. She had a lot of children. She was not even afraid. She took care of all of them. Because, how moms can be the super mom. She was like, quote unquote, the super mom in their situation. Okay. But, Yeah, they broke off from Bratter because, the mom's last name was Bratter, but her real maiden name is Michelson. The mom's name is Cynthia Michelson. That's her real name. Her name is Cynthia Clement right now. Cynthia Dunson Clement right now. Because, the dad, her husband's name was Dunson. Her real name was Clement, so they decided to... No, I was wrong. It's not Michelson. It's Cynthia Clement. That's her real name. Then the husband's name was Dunson. And then she had kids, and she gave most of them both last names. Okay. Yep, that's basically how that started. And then Stephanie's mom, Cynthia Clement, she has a few sisters and brothers. The mom, is a sibling of 8 kids. So it's like she's like the middle. There's the younger ones and there's the older ones. She's the middle, one of the middle children. Then they have a whole bunch of children, and that family is considered to be really, 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 really large. And they have a bunch of family, a bunch of cousins, and we met every single person at that family reunion trip. I will never forget that. I thought that was like one of the best days of my life because, I met people in another family who are now part of the family who I've been adopted into based off of marriage. And, it's been fun hanging out with and getting to meet them. But, yes. Okay, so what do you like about them, Geraldine? What I like about that family, my step family, quote unquote, I actually like how, they're encouraging, they're very friendly, and they're very, artistic, because, a lot of them do, like, different things. They're some business owners. Some, are, like, really gifted people. They're talented. Some are dancers, because, Sharon, my older stepsister, Sharon Moon, she is, really... She used to dance. She used to be a praise dancer at New Covenant Church because, their whole family grew up in Philly, but they were all born in, not Baltimore. They were all born in the city. They were all born in Minnesota. So they all came from Minnesota. But the church where they're at Minnesota, they were all there since they were kids. But once they turned to like teenagers, since Brian turned to like 9 years old, he moved to Philadelphia. I'm just saying his name now because I'm going to talk about him and his kids next. And then, yeah. Then they moved to Philly. Then all of them became a part of members of New Covenant Church of Philadelphia. They all went to like this apostolic holiness church in Minnesota. Mind if I show it to you on the map? Sure. Okay, here we go. Here goes the church where they all came from. They came from New Hope Baptist Church in St. Paul, but they lived in Minnesota, but they traveled to St. Paul because, they lived right at the corner of Minnesota, and, they went to the church in St. Paul. You know what I'm saying, Petunia? Yeah, because it'll be obvious because you live in the Twin City, so you live in like a duplex, so if you're not in Minneapolis, you would be in St. Paul. If you wouldn't be in St. Paul, you'd be in Minneapolis or Bloomington or Minnetonka. Minnetonka's a city? I believe so, or I might get the terminology wrong, but go on. If y'all came from Minnesota, and then they moved all the way out to Philadelphia, where they became members of the church, they all became members of New Covenant Church in Philadelphia. And all of those kids, like all the kids of Miss Cynthia Clement, they're really smart. Those are really smart children. They're all very smart, very gifted, and mind you, all of them are grown. The youngest in the family is like 20, is now 28. It was like now 29, 20, 28, 29, or 30, something like that, 31, 32. I think she's like 32 years old. Now she's like 32. She's the youngest. The oldest in the family, I gotta say, is around like 49, 51, something like that. Because the mom, I think she's like 63, 62, something like that. But she still looks really young. That's a blessing, because she's black. The good thing is that she's black. And, you know, she aged backwards. Because, you know, black don't crack. Yeah, but she is doing something right. She must have did something right, because I thought she was in her 40s, but she said she was like 60 something. But she was like in her 50s when I met her. It's 2019 right now. 2012 was 7 years ago. So she was like 56 when I met her. And I was like, wow, you don't even look that old. And I'm like, well, thanks. She was like, well, thank you. She was a sweet lady. I love my mom, Miss Cynthia. She's sweet. My stepmom, Cynthia, she's sweet. I love my mom, Malaya. But it is like, because I know I have to love my mom, Malaya, because, you know, I grew up with her. And she's my birth mom, so I love her. I always love her. But I love my stepmom, too, because she's so nice. She's sweet. She told me about everybody once I went over to her house the day after the family reunion. The family reunion was held in, it was held in, I think, Virginia or Maryland or something like that. I think it was in like Delaware or Virginia, somewhere in the Delmarva Peninsula. It was like this big park. And then that's where everybody, you know, came out. It was close to the beach too. But everybody, you know, came out and enjoyed themselves and everything. It was outside of this big lake. It was beautiful. Nice scenery. There was not a lot of bugs. It was nice and sunny, but once it got like real late, when it got like nighttime, tell me how the weather was so crisp. It was like really crisp weather. The wind was nice and comfy. Wasn't too warm, wasn't too cold. It was perfect. And then you saw all the stars, and you saw, I think it was in the middle of a meteor shower at a time too, and I saw like, you know, shooting stars and stuff. It was like really, really nice. And that's when I met some of my nieces and nephews, quote unquote. Those are my cousins. That's when I met my cousins that time, because, you know, I met one of the girls. I think her name was Charnel or Charnette, something like that, because that's that's Sharon's daughter, Charnel or Charnette. I forgot her name. I think it's like Charnette. Or Charnel. I got it now. Charnel. And I met her. That's when I met this is when I also met my cousin Zenobia and her sister Nyla. And then the older sister, Victoria. Yeah, the older sister name is Victoria. I met Victoria and I met Zenobia and Nyla. But Victoria, she was not really like a part of the family as much, because, you know, she was with her mom at the time. Victoria and the other guy, and when it was the boy and the girl, it was Victoria and the boy, I think his name was like Markel or Marquise, something like that. Those two are Brian's older kids, but they stay more with their mom. But sometimes they came over to his house and they came and had dinner and chilled with their younger brothers and sisters. How many kids does he have? Brian has a lot of kids. Mind you, he's a very good looking guy, to be honest. I can tell why him and his wife have a whole bunch of kids. Yeah, the mom must have been really ready to have other kids. Well, yeah, she was. She took it from her mom. Uh huh. And then, Brian. That's when Brian got married to his current wife. And then they had kids. They had more kids. They had Brian Jr., they had Daniel, and they had a couple more kids after. They had a whole bunch more kids after that. It was like a lot of them. Brian and Daniel are the oldest. They're the oldest. They're not the oldest people. The oldest kids are Victoria and Marquise. Those are the oldest ones, but they were not really around like that. Okay. Well, how old is Brian now? How old is he? I think he's like 42, 41, 41, 42. He was like born in 1977. It was like 1977 was his birthday, like his birth year. So he is like in his 40s now. But he still look young. Well, he looks really young too. Still looks really young. And, they have a lot of kids. Yeah, Brian Jr., Daniel, and more of them. There's like a whole bunch more. I'm gonna give it a quick count. It's actually 10 kids in total. Oh my! Because you're including the two with their mom, and then you have Brian's other 8 kids. That's a lot of kids. It is a lot, but hey, they were ready. Okay. So how old is the oldest child? The oldest child was born like 1990 something. I had to think. The oldest child was born in 1996 or 1995, and then the boy was born in 1996. And then somehow Brian and his ex-girlfriend broke up, and then they became married to another girl. He got married to another girl. Mind you, he was never married. Oh, but it's a unique story. It's really unique because the older kids are nice, but they do their own thing. It's not like the best things. But after Brian got married to his current wife, he all the kids have been, like blessed with like gifts and talents and, actual like, God given potential and God given gifts and supernatural abilities. Like a lot of his kids are blessed. Ever since he got married, all of his kids have been blessed with like gifts from the Holy Spirit, because the whole family, Brian and his siblings, his children, and his mom and them, they're all Christian. They all serve the Lord, and they worship God, and they live by God's truth and what He does, what He says. That's nice. Yeah. But do you want to cut this off as one episode, and we'll talk about some more like tomorrow? Well, yeah, most definitely. We should talk about this some more. We will. Okay. So, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one episode right here. I know you can't really see me, but I hope you all enjoyed this one episode here of Petunia and Unico Talks. Maybe Unico will come back in the next episode, maybe not. But hope you all guys enjoy the rest of your night. Good night, everybody.